Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video, and today you join me on ACC again for a 10-minute quali, 30-minute race, but the difference is this time is that we were racing the future. We were racing a 17-year-old chap called Trevor Wenham. I really hope I've said that name right. And the point being that these next generation of sim racers, these 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, they're all starting to come through and actually be insanely competitive. And this is one of many examples. I've already experienced it for a while, but I thought I'd make a video on it. And it goes through all racing titles. You know, F1 has a very young player base in F1 esports, and it's getting younger and younger every year. ACC's starting to have a few that are kind of rising to the top now. But anyway, into the video. You joined me in quali for my final run, 10-minute quali, followed by a half an hour race, as I said earlier. Nürburgring, this was a public lobby event, so it wasn't like an esports race. It was a stream I did for Overtake GG about a month ago. And Trevor just turned up, and if I'm being brutally honest, I'd not really heard of him too much. So I wasn't really running setups in these public lobbies or anything like that, but when I saw him do a time, I was like, oh my god, he's quick, he's really quick. So put a setup on, and I try hard at it basically. I wanted to win, I wanted to beat him, and of course he'd be running a setup as well with the lap times we were doing. But quali, this is my second to last lap, my next lap is the last one, and at this point in time Trevor is in P1, I'm in P2. It was, I think the session started on fast track conditions, so it's a bit slow, if that makes sense, and it went to optimum at the very end, so the times weren't electric. And I think this is very, very soon after I started playing the game again, post V1.8. There was a little time or break I had away from the game when that patch came out, but I did start to play it about a month ago, and ever since I've just been learning it more and more. So this lap so far, solid, a bit tame, and this Audi is going to kind of get in the way a little bit towards the end of this lap. But the next lap, we do need to go quicker if we want to beat Trevor. So I think Trevor at this point had set a 54.5, and you know, not overly quick at Nürburgring, but as I say, the track wasn't that quick. And I was running pretty much the esports setup I was running last year in SRO with a few tweaks obviously for the patch. So, you know, I was properly going for it. So across the line I did a 54.225. You can see there in the bottom right hand corner. And we do get P1. But I think Trevor was directly behind me on the circuit, so I thought there's a fair chance he may improve and beat my time and go into the 53, so I really had to push. And obviously, quali isn't everything when you got a half an hour race. There's a lot of time to kind of gain that back, but if we look at the final lap, then let's fixate on the lap itself for this final final minute. We set the exit for the right-hander, fairly decent, take a little bit of curve, you can't really take more than that, and you can run all the way up to the white line, but not beyond, otherwise the lap will be invalid. Down to third gear for the left, kind of carry the speed through, and then we're staying to the middle of the circuit, down to second, let off the brake, on the power as soon as possible, use all that green Astro on the exit. Obviously not going to TC0 anymore because we're post V1.8, that doesn't work anymore, it's slower, and the game kind of bugs it out when you do that to try and stop people doing it, because it's not realistic, you don't do that in real life. Again, using the Astro on the exit, coming up to the Schumacher S. A tiny lift. I think it's possible to do it flat if you do nail the line and the turn-in point, but we wanted to actually complete the lap. So down to second, then a bit of curb on the inside, not using the curb on the exit, setting up the right, so getting to the left-hand side straight away, straight in the braking zone, a dab of the brake down to second, back on the throttle, and then use all the track on the exit. Obviously an easy right as we approach the chicane. The quick chicane, not the slow one, and then you're looking for about 70 metres, maybe 65 metres, down to third gear, all the curb on the inside, and then all that, even over the sausage on the right hand side, and down to second, and just be patient with the throttle. You don't want to go too early, otherwise you'll either understeer out or get the rear out and lose a lot of time on the exit. Across the line, 154.0, I believe. 154.0. The time is not coming up, but we do end up being P1. There we go, 1 minute 54.037. Trevor 154.520. I think he may have messed up quali because I'd seen him do a time in practice that was quicker than that. So I was taking nothing for granted. I knew the race was going to be close between me and him. We had very similar pace, and we do have the inside of turn 1. As we approach the race start, we've got a few cars behind. Martin Palms there, who I met at the Race of Champions, and there's a few other names in there, but I'm confident with the McLaren being as quick as it is around Nürburgring, we should, me and Trevor, be able to gap the rest of the field and have a little ding-dong for the lead as we approach the start and wait for the lights to go. And any minute now, 3, 2, 1, go. There we go, green flag. Trevor does get a better start, a lot better than me. I must have been very conservative on the start, and he goes and defends straight away in front of me, covering the line so I can't overtake him into turn 1. We're going to opt to go for the outside, and we get done by the Porsche, but the Porsche does go quite deep. We hug the inside, the bit of contact there. I can't see from that angle if I didn't leave him any space. It did look quite aggressive from me. Well, probably not aggressive, probably just clumsy. There is a difference. Aggressive implies I meant to do it. Clumsy, it was just me being stupid. Anyway, it's a public lobby. But we hold P2, and we're behind Trevor, and it's going to be... I know it's not going to be a case of me overtaking him and pulling away. I knew he had too much pace for that. So it's going to be close, and I've just got to put the pressure on, wait for him to make a mistake. And with the McLaren at Nürburgring, in the final chicane, there is the off chance that the front of the car bottoms out on the curb, on the right-hand side sausage curb, and it flips the car into space. You go far enough into the grass, and the other person could just overtake. I know that from experience in SRO, and at the Sim Expo there was a race at Nürburgring which I hit the curb and I almost cost myself the win. So it's only the McLaren that really has that problem, and it's really annoying, so you've got to be careful. You either don't take the curb at all, or you send it completely. If you do it half-heartedly, exactly what's happened to Trevor there, you end up going wide and losing the position, or even worse, getting a puncture and your race is over. Fortunately, I don't think he had that, he just lost the position, but I do have the lead now, and a part of me thinks, right, let's get my head down, could I pull away? I don't in the end, and it'd be a very boring video if I did, but we do get the move done. Trevor braking quite late there into turn 1, and he's going to harry us for a few laps. And you can see then as we approach the chicane once again, kind of deja vu but the other way around, I get exactly the same thing. So you take the curb, the car lands, and it kind of oscillates and bounces off the circuit onto the grass. It's either that happens, or when you actually hit the curb directly, it does it before you even get the chance to even save it. So it's a very weird thing in this game, and you do have to set the car up in a way where that doesn't happen. So you kind of stop the car getting so low with the ride height that it just does it every lap. So you do have to compromise with the setup there. Otherwise you'd be running the car as low as possible. But yeah, Trevor gets the move done. We're P2 again, and we've got a 3.2 second gap to P3. Dems in the Porsche, so it's very much a two-horse race as we anticipated, but there's no pace advantage for one or the other. It's just a case of racecraft at this stage, and the point of the video really is to, as I said earlier, the next generation of sim racing is here, and with every day, with every week, they are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. They're getting more experienced, they're getting more knowledgeable with the games, and to name a few of these young guys that are starting to be ridiculously quick, you know, obviously Trevor, but you've got Dale McCormack, Robbie Stapleford, Tobias Pfeffer, Michi Tauscher. I mean, I've missed a few out, but the list goes on. And a year ago, they were quick, but you'd always fancy your chances of beating them because you have a bit more knowledge or just experience, or you know, even stuff like dealing with pressure. But these guys now, they've got a year or 2 years or even more under their belts. The more time goes on, the harder it is to beat them. It's just the generational way of life, isn't it? People, as generations go by, get better and better and better, quicker, more consistent. And Trevor again, well, he actually hit the inside curb on the left that time round, so he just turned in a bit early, got away with it because he's placed his car very well. And we're still P2, putting the pressure on every single corner of every single lap. And this is pure fun. It's not an esports race, just a public lobby. And I really wanted to win, though. I really wanted to sort of prove a point. So I'm just trying to make him crack. But he was defending and placing his car very well. And there's only a few laps to go at this stage. And I think on the forecast, you could actually see the rain coming for the end of the race. So that will make it interesting. But Trevor defending on the inside of the left, turn 2. And there's nothing we can really do here. We do try and brake quite late for turn 3, hold around the outside, but Trevor can always just edge me out. We do stick our nose in there, so he has to kind of compromise the right. and he holds the position. So hard, fair racing. There shouldn't really be contact, and there hasn't been really so far. If there's been maybe a little bit of rubbing, but there's not been any severe contact that's gave us any damage, or it's all been fair, which so far is good. And to be honest, sometimes when you race the younger guys, it's not always fair. But in this instance, it was very, very fair. Going up the inside towards the chicane, never going to get the move done down there. So I'm going to tuck in behind him, put the pressure on for the next few corners, maybe set him up for turn 1. I found in previous races before, well, in ACC in general, if you're behind the same car and you're not that much quicker, it's very hard to overtake because obviously you're quick and slow in the same places. However, it's still easy to put pressure on. So all I can really hope for is he makes a mistake. I'm not going to send it up the inside there because it just end in a crash, or I'd break myself and potentially go off. So all I can do is just put pressure every corner of every lap and hope he makes a mistake there. Don't really know what happened there. He seemed to just kind of bog down on the exit. Maybe he got a little bit of a slide on, the TC engaged. Taking the curb on the left-hand side to set him up for the right, maybe. But he parks the car quite well just before the exit, so I have to get out the throttle. And I can't really do anything, you know. It's a narrow circuit. The cars are quite wide, GT3 cars. So I'm going to have to tuck in behind him again. And at this point, we're squabbling so much. Dems in P3 in the Porsche is actually catching us, and you can see I think this is the final lap of the race. The heavens have opened. I think they opened about half a lap before this, so the grip going into all the corners is going to be very much unknown. Trevor's held the lead since I made that mistake and went off, which has been the majority of the race, to be honest, and he's not cracked under any of the pressure. So the rain was my saviour. I think if it stayed dry, nothing really was going to happen. And you can see there, I got on the Astro on my rear right tyre, and I almost lost the car. So I think I turned the TC up a little bit just to deal with this lack of grip now. And the track goes from optimum to fast to greasy very quick. So you can see even under braking, the car's just squirming about a little bit more, and I can kind of gauge the grip a little bit from what Trevor's doing. But he is the first guy going into it, so he's going to have no idea. I'm going to turn the wiper on just to see a little bit more, and it's raining heavier by the second. Trevor did get a bit of a shoddy exit there. I think he just got his rear left on the Astro, and when it's wet, that painted Astro is so slippy. Coming up to the Schumacher S, still taking the curb, so I felt confident enough to still take that curb, and Trevor didn't. Kind of got on the gravel on the exit, and we do get a better kind of run going down to this next left, but still nowhere close enough for a move. He doesn't really make the apex of the left. He's all over the place going into the right. I'm going to set him up for the straight, but if he hugs the inside, it's going to be tough really to make a move. There's a Porsche, I think there's a Porsche there off on the left-hand side, showing you how tricky the conditions are. We're going to hug it, or we're going to send it down the inside of the fast right. He gives us space. Credit to him, he gives us space. We're going into the chicane. We're braking super late considering it's wet, holding it around the outside of the chicane, over the bump, just about survived the bump, and he gets a better run. We're going to keep our nose in there. Very aggressive, but he had to give us space. We were there, and across the line after the final corner, we do get P1 on the final corner. So we do win by like 0.2 of a second. What a race. I mean, hard, fair, aggressive, don't get me wrong, very aggressive at the end. And I did kind of question whether it was legal or fair, but it was. In my opinion, that was hard, fair racing, and fair play to Trevor as well. Really enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed as well. Give it a thumbs up and sub to the channel if you did. And I've got my work cut out, that's for sure, if I'm going to stay ahead of these guys on any of the games in sim racing over the next few years. And in sim racing, I'm a classified OAP, turning 25 this year. It's all a downhill slope from here. That's what I've heard anyway. But yeah, until the next video, thank you for watching this one. I'll see you soon.